Okay, Joel went again, taking up from where I left off. The furnace ran while I was off, so I just let it run. I want to go back to the idea of the global mind, but approach it from a slightly different direction. All of us think. All of us think differently. Some of us have very different world conceptions in which we live. Some of us think slow, some of us think fast. Some of us trust our intuition, some of us don't. Some people hide their thoughts from the world around them because they don't dare say them. The social life in which they live says, "Danger, danger, Will Robinson. If you speak your mind, you're going to have lots of trouble." Most of us who have a job and have a boss can't speak our mind at work. But nevertheless, we all have this characteristic called mind. And we live in a time in which natural science, in its immature wisdom, thinks that the mind is caused by the brain. The brain is a physical organ, and that's where consciousness and mind comes from, even though they can't explain it and all they've really got is theories about it. Then you can read about some of the details of the problems with this in my little book, The Art of God, an actual theory of everything. The subtitle is A Challenge to the Theory of Evolution and the Big Bang by Offering a Theory of God and its Details as a Fully Accurate and Realistic Theory of Everything. It's thick, and it has to be in order to deal with certain other problems, some of which will come up today. Okay, so everybody has a mind. Most everybody who's aware of the paradigm of science think that that's their brain, and that everything that they do comes from their brain, and science teaches that, and we're in a lot of social and psychological trouble because that teaching is not true. Okay? That's okay. It's okay for it to be this way because of certain characteristics that can only be developed by the fact that we have to do something ourselves to really wake up to the nature, the true nature of mind. And when I use the word mind, I'm using it in a different fashion than most of the time you'll get when people who teach about the spirit in the East teach about it. And let's take a look at that word teach, for example. What's really happening here? I'm sitting in front of a camera. Later I'm going to load it up to YouTube. I'm making a lot of strange noises with my mouth. Some people are going to listen. But the fact is, all I can do is say words, maybe create some understanding, but if you want knowledge of your own mind, you have to pursue that yourself. I can't give it to you. I can maybe point a finger and say, look there, or look over there, or look over there, inside your own mind, and notice a certain thing. But that's the best I can do. If you don't look, you won't know. It's sort of like over this direction is a fireplace. You can't see it. It's not in the view of the camera. I can tell you there's a fireplace there. There's no reason to believe me. I'd have to move the camera around to show you that there's a fireplace there. It's similar in the mind. I can say, look, you have a characteristic we call discursive thinking. Discursive thinking is that thing that we do. I have to pause now. I'll be back. Okay, discursive thinking. That's where we kind of talk to ourselves in our head. We just sort of yammer inside our head and it goes on and on and on. And typical kind of example is I'm in the bus I'm on my way to work. I'm late. I'm trying to think of a story to tell my boss, so I imagine telling the story in my mind. So I talk to myself in my mind. And I listen to myself talk to myself. There's sort of two parts to that. There's the talking and the listening. And it's called discursive thinking because we talk in our minds to ourselves. And this, of course, is one of the thresholds where the natural scientists run into trouble, where they don't get it, because they think that's it. Some of them. They think discursive thinking is where everything happens. And so the linguistic analysis and the French postmodernists and a whole group of people went around saying, oh, that's all goofy. Can't have any meaning because it's all subjective, etc., etc., etc. We're not going to worry about that. You can wax philosophical if you want. Also, if you're using YouTube to watch this video, you can send me questions and I'll try to answer them directly, or sometimes I'll bring them here if 2 or 3 people are asking the same kinds of questions. I'm not expecting that to happen, but it could happen. So I want to be prepared for that idea. Anyway, so discursive thinking. So all over the globe we have people ruminating in their own heads. Then sometimes some of that peeks out into speech. And somebody says, oh boss, oh boss, oh boss, the dog ate my homework, that's why I'm late. And the boss says, okay, that's fine, no problem. Or, you're fired. It's not an easy world to live in. Or perhaps you had a fight with your spouse and they really made you angry and you're all hot inside and you want to say all these mean, horrible things. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And maybe we'll think about it, that is, we'll notice, we'll reflect on what we're going to say, and we'll think, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Or we'll just say, screw it, I'm mad, I'm going to be mad, I'm going to tell this son of a bitch what I think. So you open up your head, you open up your mouth, and you just let the words pour forth, and your discursive thinking goes out into the social world in a blast. You son of a gun, you spilled the da-da, why didn't you wipe up after the baby, and why don't you get home on time, and why ain't you been out drinking, and you're just a useless... Yeah. So there's life. All the same, there's a mystery there. And it's a mystery that exists because the fact is the human being is not just matter, he's also spirit. We're not just a physical brain, we're a spirit. And if you want to find the truth of that in a scientific fashion, if you want to use a path of science, then you have to turn around inside yourself and do something very unusual, which is called introspection. Soul observation, doesn't make any difference which one it is, but you have to acquire the habit of being able to look at your own inwardness in an empirical fashion. I'm going to pause now and come back in a bit.